I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but there's an underground river in Dartmouth. It's pretty cool. But this river's not just for hipsters. In fact, we'd like to make it mainstream. So let's dive right in. Was that too many puns? I think that was too many puns. All right. Okay, I think this is a good idea. Oh. The Sawmil River starts right here at the south end of Sullivan's Pond. All this water that's entering these grates used to flow above ground as a river. If you take a look at earlier photographs and maps of Dartmouth, you can see it flowing through the city's downtown, and it was a pretty big deal. The Mi'kmaq once used it to travel from the Halifax Harbour all the way to the Minas Basin, and it was later used to establish the Shubenacadie Canal system, which was used by factories such as the Star Manufacturing Company. Today, all that water is underground, flowing through pipes that take it from Sullivan's Pond, underneath roads, buildings, and parks, until it exits into the Halifax Harbour near King's Wharf. And when you visit the place, it's clear that the river is a shadow of its former self. It doesn't have many visitors. In fact, there are probably more ducks here than people, and it doesn't really feel inviting. There's been an effort to make it look pretty, but it's a neglected and underused part of the city. Oh, and if you're the adventurous type, it also has some very slippery rocks. Of course that had to happen. So what on earth happened? Well, in 1971, Hurricane Beth brought roughly 2 months' worth of rainfall on Dartmouth in a period of 30 hours. That caused Sullivan's Pond and the river to overflow onto Ochterlony Street and flood the downtown area. It was pretty crazy. The response to this event was to bury the river underground by putting it into pipes. Now, in the last few years, many residents and groups, including the Ecology Action Centre, have been advocating for parts of the Sawmil River to be brought back to the surface. And we wouldn't be the first city to try it. The Cheonggyecheon River in South Korea also used to be underground, but it was transformed into a wildly successful public park. Today, it's a hub for the community, with storefronts, offices, and neighborhoods moving into the area, and more importantly, people flocking to the river to get some much-needed solace from the city. There's a name for this: daylighting, the act of directing a previously buried watercourse to an above-ground channel. And the timing might just be right for this to happen here. Those pipes I mentioned earlier, well, they need to be replaced, and very soon. Halifax Water owns the pipes, and they estimate it'll cost $14 million to do it. Holy crap, pipes are expensive. Daylighting the river would be a way to save money in the long term, because it costs less to have water flowing on the surface naturally than in pipes that need $14 million repairs. At the same time, the city is looking at reworking the Alderney and Portland Street intersection near the mouth of the river, which could free up even more space. Halifax Water is also required to allow for fish passage upstream, which daylighting could help with, and the city agreed to encourage daylighting as a policy like 10 years ago. If I'm boring you with all the details of why this is a good idea, let me put it this way. Daylighting is a tested and widely supported initiative. We really should be doing it. In fact, it might be required, and we really won't get another chance to do this except for now. So why haven't we done it yet? Well, the city eventually has to take on the initiative themselves to daylight the Sawmil River, and their response has been a bit lukewarm. A staff report from 2015 brought up many of the challenges that would be associated with daylighting the river. For instance, the river right now flows underground between this condo and several small businesses on Ochterlony Street. That's a tight squeeze for a river, and we would need a highly engineered solution to have water flowing safely through it. There are a number of private properties that would have to be bought up for the project, and there's also the question of what happens when the river hits the Alderney Drive and Portland Street intersection, as well as other roads. The reality is that a project like this would be very difficult to do. Replacing a pipe with a pipe might be expensive, but it's predictable. It's business as usual. But I don't think that's the perspective we should have for the Sawmil River. Case in point, right now Halifax is planning on tearing down the Causewell interchange and replacing it with essentially a new neighborhood in the downtown. It's an incredibly complicated project considering we could have just repaired the interchange, but that's my point. Projects like this don't happen because they're easy to do, but because we see so much hidden potential in them. Well, I think a lot of people see that same hidden potential in this buried underground river. What it could use is some leadership from within the city, from our councillors and staff. Daylighting the Sawmil River is a cool project, Let's hope it sees the light of day.
Unreroute the river, let the damn water beat. There's some people down the way that's thirsty, so let the liquid spirit free. The folk are thirsty because of man's unnatural hand. Watch what happens when the people catch wind of water hitting the bank of hard dry land. Clap your hands now.